Shalom, Israel. Yhwhshi. I want to start off by giving all honor, all praises, and all glory to the Most High God, Yahweh, in the name of His only begotten Son, Yhwhshi. This is Soldier Yhwhshi from Boston, Massachusetts, Sector Sakari. I just want to do a quick little lesson on the covenants and the fact that we're waxing away and the old covenant is fading away into the new covenant. We're not really in the we're not really in the new covenant. We're kind of like blending into the new covenant, waiting for the Messiah to begin the new covenant. So I'm going to start this off because the Christian church, the modern church, tend to use a specific verse for this. They use a couple of them, but the one in particular is Matthew. I'll represent this. One second. The verse that they use is Matthew 26 and 27. And it says, the book of Matthew, chapter 26, verse 27. And he took the cup and gave thanks and gave it to them, saying, Drink ye all of it. For this is my blood of the New Testament, which is shed for many for the remissions of sins. Which is true, because he's coming to forgive our sins, forgive Israel's sins, because we can't go into the new covenant dirty. We have to go into a brand new and fresh. So he's coming to cleanse us, to get us into it. So when we talk about the covenants, there's a lot of scriptures that mention the new covenant in the New Testament. But before we go on to that, we have to have an understanding of the old covenant, because we need to see them both. We need to see both and understand both of them. So this is the book of Genesis, chapter 1, 17, verse 1. So this is Abraham actually receiving the first covenant, or given the promise of the first covenant, because we know that it happened 2 years later, but I don't want to jump the gun. Genesis 17 and 1. And when Abram was 90 years old and 9, the Lord appeared to Abram and said unto him, I am the Almighty God, walk before me, and be thou perfect. He wanted us to be perfect then, the same way Yhwhshi told us to be perfect now. Verse 2. And I will make my covenant between me and thee, and will multiply thee exceedingly. And Abram fell on his face, and God talked with him, saying, As for me, behold, my covenant is with thee, and thou shalt be a father of many nations. Because we know that the promises was given to Shem, not to Shem, but that's the chosen line. And then it's not everybody who comes from Shem. It's Abram, obviously, and then it goes into many nations. But then it gets, a little more condensed, filtered. It gets more filtered. Verse 5. Neither shall thy name any more be called Abram, but thy name shall be Abraham, for a father of many nations I have made thee. Right? and I will make thee exceeding fruitful, and I will make nations of thee, and kings shall come out of thee. We have, obviously all the kings of Israel, even even the kings of Ishmael, even the kings of Elam, all those, not Elam, Salaki, and like Moabite kings, and or even him, But you know what I'm trying to say. There's a lot of kings that came out of Abram. Verse verse 7. And I will establish my covenant between me and thee and thy seed after thee in their generations for an everlasting covenant, to be a God unto thee and to thy seed after thee. And I will give unto thee and to thy seed after thee the land wherein thou art a stranger, and all the land of Canaan for an everlasting possession, and I will be their God. All right. And God said unto Abraham, thou shalt keep my covenant before thou, therefore, thou and thy seed after thee in their generations. So, a little choppy, but that's Abraham receiving the promises, what's to come. All right. Now, the church, the modern church, they think things happen right away. They think that Christ was crucified, bam, it is what, like, we're already there, we're involved in it. The Most High doesn't work like that. He likes to tell you what's gonna happen, or it seems like he likes to tell you what's gonna happen ahead of time, and you gotta wait. You gotta, because it seems like he wants us to show that we want it, so on and so forth. It's just how he works. It's just what he does things the way he does things. He makes us wait to receive things. If he cares about you, he'll make you receive your punishment faster than later, but that's a different topic. But for the covenants, he makes us wait. All right. And actually, in the New Testament, it tells you that the old covenant, there was a good amount of time in between the promise of the old covenant and the actual start of it. I'll show you right now in the book in Galatians chapter 3. Verse 16. And they changed this up. Book of Galatians chapter 3 verse 16. Now to Abraham and his seed were the promises made. So right there, right off the bat, that filters out a lot of people. There's a lot of nations in the world, like Hamites and Japhites and Cushites and God, all that stuff. All those nations kind of just weeded out right off the bat. So it says, now to Abraham and his seed were the promises made. He saith not, and to seeds as of many, but as of one, and to thy seed, which is Christ. Verse 17. And this I say, that the covenant that was confirmed before of God in Christ, the law, which was 430 years after, cannot disannul, that it should make the promise of none effect. For if the inheritance be of the law, it is no more of promise, but God gave it to Abraham by promise. But if you look at this right here, it says 430 years after. It took a while from the promise of Abram to the actual receiving of the covenant, of the promises to have. It was 4 centuries. It's a couple generations, right? So that's just to show you it takes time. It takes time. That was the old covenant. I could show you something actually in the new covenant of about the new covenant where we still gotta wait, right? It's the book of Hebrews, chapter 8, verse 13. 8 and 13. In that he saith a new covenant he hath in that he saith a new covenant he hath made the first old, right? The original covenant old. Now that which decayeth and waxeth old is ready to vanish away. When this book was written, it was roughly 30 years after the crucifixion. The fact that he says that they're not in the new covenant, that the old one is kind of diminishing, decaying away, shows that he wasn't in the new covenant. We're not in the new covenant because nothing, no prophecy of the new covenant has happened since then. I mean, if the crucifixion brought us directly into the new covenant by 30 years after, by the time in the book of Hebrews, he should have already said we were in the new covenant, in the New Testament. But he's saying 30 years after that the old covenant is decaying. It's ready to vanish away. Not there yet. A couple things need to happen um before we get into it, before he comes and brings us into it. Right. And there's a couple, it's kind of like impossible. I don't know how they can get away with it. How people that believe that we're in the new covenant can get away with it, because there's requirements, there's signs, there's signals on how to on things that need to take place. There's things that need to take place, and things need to be a certain way to show that we're in the new covenant. I don't know if that makes sense, but I'm gonna show you right now. Jeremiah 31 and 31. This is a Israelite favorite. It's bread and butter to show that we're not in the new covenant. You can show it to them. You can show it to the modern, to non-Israelites and Israelites that follow other customs like Christianity, Catholicism. You can show them this, and a lot of us are so indoctrinated that we will just kind of avoid it, just deflect right away. But it'll be right there, directly in your face, letting you know exactly how it is. This is the book of Jeremiah, chapter 31 and verse 31. Behold, the days come, saith the Lord, that I will make a new covenant with the house of Israel and with the house of Judah, not according to the covenant that I made with their fathers in the day that I took them by the hand, to bring them out of the land of Egypt, which my covenant they break, although I was a husband unto them, saith the Lord. So obviously the original covenant, the first covenant that we went that I mentioned, or that's mentioned in the scriptures. Well, no, because I have the Adamic, but the Abrahamic covenant is we broke it. We broke it. We weren't ready for it. We were very carnal. I mean, even to this day, a lot of us are very, very just not ready for the covenant, right? So we broke it. Verse 33. But this shall be the covenant that I will make with the house of Israel after those days, saith the Lord. I will put my law in their inward parts and write it in their hearts, and will be their God, and they shall be my people. So right off the bat, in this new covenant, we're gonna have the laws written in our hearts. Right? There's people that don't even know the 10 Commandments off rip. Right? Then there's a whole bunch more for different circumstances. There's laws of judgment, laws of sacrifice, laws of mercy, laws of agriculture. There's laws for everything. The Most High had everything ready to. He has a world ready that he sees fit, and he wants it a certain way, which is perfect. But we can't even get to 10. We don't have those in our hearts yet. Verse 34. And they shall teach no more every man his neighbor and every man his brother, saying, Know the Lord, for they shall all know me, from the least of them unto the greatest of them, saith the Lord. For I will forgive their iniquity and remember their sin no more. So it says that nobody's going to teach anybody about the scriptures. We have a bunch of different denominations of even within Israelites. There's a few different denominations within the Israelites. Christianity has a bunch. It's a lot. It says that we're not going to be teaching each other. The fact that we debate, the fact that I'm doing this video right now, is a sign that we are not in the new covenant. It's impossible. It says, saying, Know the Lord, for they shall all know me, from the least of them unto the greatest of them. There's islands of cannibals. Right? There's people that have never seen the light of day. They've never seen a book before. And they're still there. And it says that all will know him. Everybody's gonna know him. But there's an island somewhere, and I think it's like Papua New Guinea or something, where if you go there, they're gonna eat you, and they never seen a book. They don't even know what the hell shoes are. You know what I mean? They don't know the Lord. Right? So that's another sign. That's already like strike 3 already. Right? But I'm going to keep going for the sake of edification. All right? Verse 35. Thus saith the Lord, which giveth the sun for a light by day, and the ordinances of the moon and of the stars for the light by night, which divideth the sea when the waves. So I can't read that over. Verse 35. Thus saith the Lord, which giveth the sun for a light by day, and the ordinance of the moon and of the stars for a light by night, which divideth the sea when the waves thereof roar. The Lord of hosts is his name. Yahweh is his name. If those ordinances depart from before me, saith the Lord, then the seed of Israel also shall cease from being a nation from before me forever. Another thing of the new covenant is that they teaches replacement theology. Right? They think that the multi-ethnic church now took over Israel. Right? So now some say that Israel's done away with. Oh, we sacrificed Christ, we put up Christ as crucified, we denied him, so on and so forth. But the Most High is saying, the Yahweh is saying, Jehovah, whatever you want to call him, right? Yahweh is saying that if the moon and the stars and the sun, the moon, the stars, the sun, if all those things go away and their role goes away, then Israel goes away. The fact that we still have the moon and the stars and the sun still in place, still doing what they need to do, it's another sign that what they're teaching is false. What they're teaching is wrong. So we're not in the new covenant yet, and when the new covenant does come, it's for Israel. Right? But I digress. Right? I'm gonna just keep moving forward. Get you guys right. The Most High says we're not gonna. Some people just not gonna receive it. It's right there in your face. Some people just will not get it. And like I said before, there's a bunch of other requirements, things that need to happen beforehand. Like it, in Jeremiah 31 through 35 tells you the way things are gonna be. Like we're gonna be perfect. We're gonna have, we're not gonna sin anymore, right? But there's also things that need to happen in order to go into the new covenant. In the book of Ezekiel, chapter 20, and verse 33. It's the book of Ezekiel, chapter 20, verse 33. As I live, as I live, as I live, saith the Lord, surely with a mighty hand and with a stretched out arm and with fury poured out will I rule over you. And I will bring you out from the people, and will gather you out of the countries wherein ye are scattered, with a mighty hand and with a stretched out arm and with fury poured out. So we know, anybody who knows, a decent amount of the Bible, Israel was scattered to the four corners of the world, by and large. Israel needs to be gathered back into Israel, of course, by the Messiah. It doesn't say it in this one particularly, but we know that the Messiah is the hand of God. He's the right hand of God. He's gonna do his work, right? The right hand of Yahweh. No, Yhwhshi, so like Yhwhshi is the right hand of Yahweh. He's gonna do Yahweh's work. And this also tells you, shows you that there's people claiming to, claiming certain heritages. This debunks that. Straight up like that, straightforward. This is saying that the Most High is gonna gather the Israelites and bring them back to the land of Israel. All right. The fact that they're still scattered, the fact that it wasn't Yhwhshi that brought them back, the fact that Yahweh didn't bring the Israelites, didn't bring Israel back to Israel through Yhwhshi, says a lot. But I'm gonna move forward. Right, verse 35. And I will bring you into the wilderness of the people, and there will I plead with you face to face. So there will I plead with you face to face. 36. Like as I pleaded with your fathers in the wilderness of the land of Egypt, so will I plead with you, saith the Lord God. All right, so he says in the same way in the new covenant, the same way in the old covenant that we went through the 40 years and we had the manna rain down and just started sending snakes after us, and we keep going off and blah, blah, just we had to go through it, right, in order to get that promise. The same way that happened in the Old Testament, the Old Covenant, it's gonna happen again, right? It hasn't happened yet. There was no wilderness. He hasn't pleaded with nobody. It's just we've been stagnant. We've been up in the air at the moment. We're not moving forward. We're moving forward, but we're still stagnant. You can be stagnant and move forward, but we're not in the wilderness. All right. Verse 37. And I will cause you to pass under the rod, and I will bring you into the bond of the covenant. We know that the rod is chastisement, it's trials, it's judgment. We're gonna get around that, or the elect will get around that and get brought into the new covenant. So right here, Remember, because the first covenant already happened. Right now, it's the current covenant, and right now he's saying he's going to bring us into the covenant after through the wilderness into the covenant, into the new covenant. So this can't be talking about the old covenant because we're already in part of the old covenant in this chapter in this book. But he's saying that the future times, eschat times, and the end times, he's gonna do the exact same thing as before, through the wilderness into the new covenant. Some will make it around, some won't even make it through. But that wilderness trial period, whatever you want to call it, needs to happen. Thus saith the scriptures. Right. Another kind of going back into Jeremiah 31 to 35, 31 to 35. Same way like prophecies need to happen, certain things need to happen, and the signs of the way we will be. It isn't just one person, it's a collective. As a collective in the new covenant, we would all have the same heart. We would all have the same mind. We would be on one accord, right? Because, we're kind of separate now. Even within Israel, we're separate. We have different teachings, different what you call that? We're separate. That's the most simplest way to put it, right? But if we stay in the book of Ezekiel, right? But if we go to chapter 11, 17 through 20, it says, Therefore say, thus saith the Lord God. So you know that the Most High speaking. I will even gather you from the people and assemble you out of the countries where ye have been scattered, and I will give you the land of Israel. So we're going to be scattered after the captivity that Ezekiel was in. We're going to be scattered, right, in the future, and then after that, we'll get brought back, right? Verse 18. And they shall come thither, and they shall take away all the detestable things thereof, and all the abominations thereof from thence. So we gotta, give me 1 second. Because as Israelites, we tend to do a lot of detestable things, abominable things, and kind of mix it with holy things. We'll take worldly things and we'll mix it with holy things. That's something we've been doing for we've been doing it for a long time, right? Now, what was it? Right. So it's like I'm just fixing on my little setup here. Verse 19. This is the point that I was trying to make. And I will give them one heart, and I will put a new spirit within you, and I will take the stony heart out of their flesh, and will give them an heart of flesh. So right here, that was a very, very, because it goes right into Jeremiah. Because we're gonna have the laws in our hearts. We're gonna have a new spirit, new heart. We won't be able to sin anymore. That's why he says we'll never sin ever again. Why? Because we have a new spirit. Right now, we can sin. We're fragile. We're carnal. We fall without the Most High in hamashyach Yhwhshi, in the name of Yhwhshi, His Son. The only reason why we're still up is because of them. We fall, we go down. He picks us back up. Blah blah. But in the new covenant, He's gonna make it so that we are impenetrable. We're gonna live sinless. Hamashyach Yhwhshi. Um, verse 20, that they may walk in my statutes and keep mine ordinances and do them, and they shall be my people, and I will be their God. Simple as possible. Simple. I couldn't have said it better myself, right? They We're gonna be perfect. We're not gonna sin. We're finally gonna be married to the Most High. We're gonna be everything that He wanted us to be. That He wants us to be. Mm. So we're not gonna have no divisions because we're gonna be together, right? We know that Yhwhshi, we know that Yhwhshi, He likened the new covenant. He likened the new pact, salvation, to marriage, right? This is the book of Matthew 25:6. You know what? I'll start at 1. Matthew 25:1. Then shall the kingdom of heaven be likened unto 10 virgins, which took their lamps and went forth to meet the bridegroom. Right now, those virgins, they're waiting for the bridegroom, right? Same way we're waiting for Yahweh. Right. Verse 2. And 5 of them were wise, and 5 of them were foolish. We have some that know what they're talking about and lived it and did all this, and some that just couldn't get it. And not only not they couldn't get it, they weren't even seeking it. They wanted to wait till last minute, last second. I'm pretty sure they were scoffing the people trying to sell them oil or give them oil. They're like, no, I got better things to do. I'm gonna do that. But they were like, hey, I got oil for you, and then they didn't want it. More than likely, it's just a parable, right? Verse 3. They that were foolish took their lamps and took no oil with them. We know that the oil is the wisdom. We know that oil's the keeping of the commandments, the preaching of the commandments, having it in your heart, using that oil to burn the fire in your heart for the Most High, for Yahweh. That oil burns your heart, fuels your heart to strive after the Most High. Verse 4. But the wise took oil in their vessels with their lamps, while the bridegroom tarried. So they all slumbered and slept. So he's making haste. They were sleeping. Like he says, he'll come as a thief in the night. And at midnight there was a cry made, Behold, the bridegroom cometh, go ye out to meet him. At midnight, that's the doomsday clock. I mean, I'm probably certain to it, but I'm gonna assume it's the doomsday clock. Because once it's 12 o'clock, we got the missiles coming in. We got that seal that opens up. We got that trumpet. We got everything that goes, everything that's we've been waiting for a long time. People have been scared of for a long time. Some people scoffed at it for a long time. That apocalypse, the doomsday clock. At midnight, there was a cry made. Right, so he's finally here. Um, that's it for that, right? So he's the bridegroom. So he likens the salvation to marriage, right? He likens it to a wedding ceremony. When people get married, right? There's they get engaged. They get engaged. There's a little time in between. The same way the covenant of the old covenant was 430 years. right? The same way in the book of Hebrews, when whoever's the author of Hebrews was 30 years later, was still saying that we're not in the new covenant. There's time in between. The same way a wedding ceremony, for the most part, there's time. Excuse me. There's time in between. So what? Something that seals the deal for the union, right? Let's see. I can't put this on the screen, but I'm gonna read it. Okay, just to give you context, right? I'll put it on the screen, but I'll what you call it? I'm gonna have to post it up because I don't have it. The Blue Letter Bible doesn't have it. It's the book of Tobit. Just to give us a good idea on what needs to happen. Of course, we can't take this literally because it's a parallel marriage that Yhwhshi used marriage with salvation. This is the book of Tobit, chapter 3 and verse 7. This is to give you guys an understanding on how do you seal the deal on a marriage. It came to pass the same day that in Ecbatane, a city of Media, Sarah, the daughter of Raguel, also was also reproached by her father's maids. So her maids were like, they were scoffing at her, they were mocking her, they were, ridiculing her. And there's a reason for that. Verse 8, because that she had been married to 7 husbands. And we cannot use the word married and husbands. So like sometimes things get said for lack of a better term. Right? They just didn't put engaged. They didn't put. She was engaged to 7 men. And by the time I'm done with this, you understand what I'm talking about. Married to 7 husbands, whom Asmodeus, the evil spirit, had killed. So those 7 fiancés she had, they all died before they had lain with her. So before they before they consummated the marriage, they all died. So they didn't get to consummate the marriage. Thus thou not know, said they, that thou hast strangled thine husbands. Thou hast had already 7 husbands, neither wast thou named after any of them. So they're saying they're saying that other people are saying that she went and she strangled them. Right? But we know that I don't want to say righteous women, but righteous women of antiquity, the marriage was a big thing. It takes away their reproach. Why would she go and kill her 7 husbands, her 7 fiancés? Right, but we're gonna give you I'm gonna come to a conclusion right now. Verse chapter 7. So, Tobit chapter 7, same story, same context, same point. A couple chapters down the line, Tobit 7 and 11. This is Sarah's father speaking. I have given my daughter in marriage to 7 men, who died that night they came in unto her. When you look at came in unto her, many times in the Bible, it's just going in and speaking, right? So they went into her chamber, never made it out. In unto her, came in unto her, doesn't always mean uh, to have sex. Sometimes it means just go inside a house and talk to people, talk to somebody, talk to multiple people, right? Nevertheless, for the present, be merry. But Tobias said, I will eat nothing here till we agree and swear one to another. Right? Tobias is the one that's marrying her, right? Let's jump to verse 14. So Tobias made it through the night. The other fiancés didn't make it. Right? Like he was actually there and he consummated the marriage. He actually went on, he laid with her and he, they were married couples do, right? Um, verse 14. So after that was done, verse 14, and called Edna his wife, and took paper and did write an instrument of covenants and sealed it. So he went into he laid with her, he consummated the marriage, and they wrote the contract of the marriage. All right. And then he gets happy, and then they go and then they hang out for about a week and party for like a week. This is Israel, you know how how it gets done, right? Um, but that's the point of the whole thing was the consummation of the marriage. Israel, we are engaged to the Most High. We're engaged to be to to be married until it gets sealed, until the consummation happens. We're not married. We're not in the new covenant. That's why he likened the new covenant and salvation to marriage, because we're still waiting. Still the fiance period. You know. Yep, should put that there. Which brings me to the next point. Excuse me. We um we have the elect. We have the people that are gonna make it through. Like, of course, the modern church, they'll say things like we have to. It's like once saved, always saved. You know, like everyone thinks not. Like once you got it, you can't lose it, or if you don't got it, you'll never get it. Nobody knows. The book of life, Yahweh has it. He wrote it before everything. He wrote all this thing before everything. All right. You know what? I'll get into that. Revelation 13 and 8. And Revelation 13 and 8. And all that dwell upon the earth shall worship him. Not everybody worships him, right? Whose names are not written in the book of life of the Lamb slain from the foundation of the world. So the whole us falling off, Yhwhshi bringing us, picking us back up through his blood, that was said before the foundation of the earth. That was laid out. It was always going to happen. There was no, if we weren't going to have like a multiverse, another dimension where something different happens. This was always going to happen. Right? Book of Ephesians, chapter 1, verse 4. It says, according as he hath chosen us in him before the foundation of the world, that we should be holy and without blame before him in love. So those people that are going to be elect are going to be blamed without blame. Because he forgave us, and two, we're striving for the truth. So he's helping us. We're helping him help us, I guess. Right? Verse 5. Having predestinated us unto the adoption of children by Jesus Christ to himself, according to the good pleasure of his will. We do nothing. That fleshy heart that we get, it's not because of us, it's because he just decided before the world was ever created to bring us into the new covenant and allow us to receive, to be sinless and to be married to him. Okay. And in the new covenant, remember I said earlier that they said that they love to say that Israel's done away with. You know, we we gave up the Messiah, we did this, so on and so forth, right? There's the book of Romans, chapter 11 and verse 26. See what Paul has to say. See what my guy Paul has to say about this. It's the book of Romans, chapter 11, verse 26. And so all Israel shall be saved, as it is written. There shall come out of Zion the deliverer, and shall turn away ungodliness from Jacob. So the deliverer is going to come, he's going to get us, and he's going to save all Israel. I'm not saying some won't die, but if you believe in what the Bible teaches, reincarnation, will be born into the kingdom. All Israel is going to be saved. We are his chosen. We are the apple of his eye. He's going to have to punish some more than others, but ultimately, all Israel gets saved. Don't ever say Israel's done away with. Don't ever let nobody tell you that Israel's done away with. Israel is the apple of the Most High's eye. The apple of the Most High's eye. Yeah, the apple of the Most High's eye. We are his chosen. We are his favored. And just don't let nobody tell you that we're done away with. And this is after the crucifixion. So the multi-ethnic church, supposedly after the crucifixion took over, even after he's saying, all Israel shall be saved. Right? Because people, they lack understanding, they lack knowledge. It's not their fault. I ain't gonna get mad at them. Just pray I'm never one of them. That's it. Right? In Revelation 19 and 1. This is another thing to give you a good understanding on when it's going to take place. Because for about like 3,000 years, 2,000 years, actually more than that, because even before Christ, trust me, we've been waiting for a long time. But for 2,000 years, people have been assuming when it's going to happen, saying it's not going to happen, saying it already happened, right? So to get a good understanding of when the salvation is going to take place, when we're going to enter into the new covenant. Right. Book of Revelation, chapter 19, verse 1 through 7. And after these things, I heard a great voice of much people in heaven, saying, Alleluia, salvation and glory and honor and power unto the Lord our God. For true and righteous are his judgments, for he hath judged the great whore, which we know is Babylon, which we know is America, which did corrupt the earth with her fornication, and hath avenged the blood of his servants at her hand. Because we know that the great whore Babylon, everybody's going to partake in her wickedness. Everyone's going to drink out of her doctrine, out of her wine. They're going to emulate her, right? And we know that the one, because Yhwhshi hasn't come back yet. So when comes back, who's everybody going to be emulating? Who's been bullying the world since they got a hold of the nuke? You know, so you know we know who it is. Hath avenged the blood of verse 3. And again they said, Alleluia, and her smoke rose up forever and ever. So whatever happens to the great whore, there's a big fire, and that fire will not be quenched ever. There'll be smoke everywhere forever. Verse 4. And the 24 elders and the 4 beasts fell down and worshipped God that sat on the throne, saying, Amen, Hallelujah. And a voice came out of the throne, saying, Praise our God, all ye his servants, and ye that fear him, both small and great. Verse 6. And I heard as it were the voice of a great multitude, and as the voice of many waters, and as the voice of mighty thunderings, saying, Hallelujah, for the Lord our God, omnipotent, reigneth. So this is like pretty much the flag we're going to put down. Right? Verse 7. Let us be glad and rejoice and give honor to him, for the marriage of the Lamb is come, and his wife hath made herself ready. The 144,000 are now awake. Israel is ready to be married and cleaned and cleansed and fixed, weeded out, cutting off some of the fat that we don't want, purging some of the rebels out, and it's ready, right? This is the point. Where is it? All right, bam. Because people will get purged out. Remember, I said earlier that all Israel will be saved, but the purging doesn't necessarily mean to be done away with. Some people can go through the wilderness, comprehend what's going on, get in line, and how do you say, they scale with the program. Some people, all it takes is some 144,000 and get it before the wilderness comes. They're gonna get with the program right away. Low willing, I'll be of that number. Low willing, whoever's hearkening to what I'm saying, be of that number. But some in the wilderness, some people are gonna hearken unto what's going on, get in line, get in order. Some are not. Same way in the Old Testament, in the so-called Old Testament, there were people that the Most High was with us, right in our faces, gave us everything he said he was. He did everything he said he was going to do, and for some reason we still want to go back to Egypt. For some reason we still want to go after these other gods. It's going to happen again, the same exact way. Right? There's the book of Ezekiel 20 and 37 to 38. They changed something up on this. That sucks. 20 and 37 to 38. Um, yeah, and I will cause you to pass under the rod, and I will bring you into the bond of the covenant. This is the point right here. Verse 38. And I will purge out from among you the rebels, and them that transgress against me, I will bring them forth out of the country where they sojourn, and they shall not enter into the land of Israel, and ye shall know that I am the Lord. So they're not going to be the first draft. They're not making it that first time around. He's going to get them out of where they got to get to. They're going to enter in the wilderness, and in the wilderness, they're going to need that extra treatment, that extra godly love, so to speak, right? The extra. The Most High is going to get their kinks out. The Most High is going to get them straight, right? But it has to be done out of the realm of out of this earthly realm. It can't be done. It needs to be done over there where he goes and he fixes them back up, puts them in, gets them born into the kingdom. They're not going to be the ones going into the ships and then going, and then getting beamed down or whatever. And it's not going to be the ones that have to walk through the wilderness and make it there. They're gonna some might have to die. They got to get purged out, get that special treatment from the Most High, born into the kingdom years later. All right. Sorry, Puerto Ricans speak with our hands. The book of Luke, chapter 19, verse 27. It said Luke 19 and 27. This is Yhwhshi speaking, right? 19 and 27. But those mine enemies, which would not that I should reign over them, bring hither and slay them before me. Because everybody in the world claims that they're Christians. It's one of the biggest religions, right? You have Edomites, you have the Israelites, Elamites, you got the Ishmaelites, you have all these different nations claiming to believe on Christ and love Christ, and you have the Muslims saying that they believe in Christ, but when it gets here, it's all lip service. If they weren't doing what he says when he wasn't here, when he is here, they're not gonna follow him, and especially if they don't see who they've been praying to this whole time, the dude on the cross, right? They're not gonna do it. So he's saying that the ones that don't want to follow him, don't want to be under him, get rid of him. Because remember, Yhwhshi is coming to save his people first, Israel first, but the rest of the world gets the crumbs, and the crumbs that they're gonna get is better than the lives they've been living here. After that 1,000 years of captivity, because they gotta make up for what they've done. But he doesn't need that rebellious spirit in his people or in the other people. So he's getting rid of all of that right off the bat as soon as he gets here. All right. Let's go to Zechariah. Zechariah 13 and 7 to 9. Zechariah 13 and 7. Awake, O sword, against my shepherd, and against the man that is my fellow. Against the man that is my fellow, right? So our brothers they're gonna go. Some of our brothers will go, some of our family members, some of our friends, and it's gonna happen. That is my fellow, saith the Lord of hosts. Smite the shepherd, and the sheep shall be scattered, and I will turn mine hand upon the little ones, and it shall come to pass that in all the land, saith the Lord, 2 parts therein shall be cut off and die, but the third shall be left therein. And I will bring the third part through the fire, and will refine them as silver is refined, and will try them as gold is tried. They shall call on my name, and I will hear them. I will say, it is my people, and they shall say, Yahweh is my God. All right. 2/3 is a lot. 2/3 is a lot. I don't know if you guys ever seen like in a major city, right? In a major city, um, a lot of Israelites, right? We'll be we'll be in Boston, we'll be in New York, we'll be in Atlanta, we'll be in Miami, we'll be in all in what is it, San Francisco, Los Angeles, Las Vegas, right? Just in one of those major cities, you look around, countless amount of Israelites. We're all over the place, right? Because the majority of us, we're fruitful, right? Um, 2/3 of those people are gonna die, right? It's 2/3. That's a lot. That's only in one major city. Like really, just one of these days, just look around. If you believe, the so-called Black, Hispanic, and Indigenous are Israelites, and you see all of them, you can go to Mexico, you be like, yo, dog, and you go to Puerto Rico, you go to Jamaica, and all that. 2/3 of all those people aren't gonna make it through, bro. It's a scary thought. It's beautiful that we're able to receive this knowledge, but it's not gonna be pretty, right? So right here in Zechariah 13:7 through 9, it's saying that the 1/3 shall make it through the wilderness. 2/3 aren't even gonna make it in the wilderness. 2/3 are gonna die. Excuse me. So you gotta put your foot down. You gotta make haste to get to the Most High, to get that oil. You don't want to be the 5 virgins that didn't get the oil. You want to be the 5 that did get the oil. Um, right, and then the 1/3, because you have the elect, that's the governing body, the 144,000, but the 1/3 are gonna help because the majority of Israelites that were scattered went to America. We all know that, right? And if you don't know that, you're gonna learn eventually. In a future video, I got you. But the 1/3, they're gonna go to the scatter because there are Israelites all around the world, not just in the Americas. And the 1/3 that come out of America are gonna be teaching the scatter, the remnant. Right? The book of Isaiah, 6 and verse 19. 19 to 20. And I will set a sign among them, and I will send those that escape of them, right? The 1/3 that escape unto the nations, to Tarshish, Pul, and Lud, that draw the bow, to Tubal, to Javan, to the isles afar off, that have not heard my fame, neither have seen my glory, and they shall declare my glory among the Gentiles. So when we see that when I mentioned it earlier in Jeremiah 31, that everyone's gonna know the Most High, everybody. And then I also mentioned earlier that there's a process of things that have to happen before we get into the new covenant. In the new covenant, Jeremiah 31, everybody knows about the Most High. Everybody. You have the heathen, you have the Israelites, everybody knows. Right? And Isaiah 66 is part of the process, right, to get into the new covenant. And in that process, the 1/3 before we before they the 1/3 make it into Israel, they're going to be teaching the scattered Israelites of the Lord, because even over there they don't know. They probably have a Christian mindset. They probably have a those damn heathens. The they probably follow the Talmud. They probably follow Islam, and they follow all these things. But there's a remnant of us all over the place. Us in America, because we are in Babylon, and it's Babylon's like kind of the main call it. Damn, there's a word that's on the tip of my tongue. It's it's the center. It's the I don't want to say the focal point, but this is where our captivity was. This is where northern and southern kingdom enslaved together. The only place it hasn't happened nowhere else. Only happened here, right? And that's also another video I got coming on. So the 1/3 that get out of here, they're gonna go talk to the people, because he taught us, because we're the ones that went through the captivities. But then we'd have to go and teach the people that kind of just, I don't want to say, I'm pretty sure they went through the curses, because the curses follow everybody. But they trying to think of the best way to put it. They just didn't know. They just didn't know. The Most High put it on our spirit over here in Babylon to teach, to prophesy the destruction of this wicked place, Mawatha, to get rid of to further prophecy. Right? He put it on our spirit, to our teachers, our elders, from One West, and commandment keepers and all that. What you call it? But yeah, so those 1/3, those the ones that escape, that says here in verse 19, are gonna go and they're gonna teach everyone. They're gonna teach the remnant. It's kind of long winded, but I'm trying to get the best words for you. Oh yeah, bam. So that's the 1/3, right? There's nevertheless. Because we know that sluggy had a brain fart. Um, the will, right? The inheritance, because the salvation is an inheritance. It's a gift. It's a will, right? Because blood had to be shed for us to get that covenant, to get that promise, to get that inheritance, right? So that's a big part of the crucifixion. I mean, that's the main point of the crucifixion, was to get us to come back, right? It's the book of Hebrews, chapter 9, verse 15. I'm tired of this. I don't know what they did to Blue Letter, but um 15 to 30 to 17. It's the book of Hebrews, chapter 9, verse 15. And for this cause, he is the mediator of the New Testament. We know Yhwhshi. He was the lamb given for the New Testament. that by means of death, for the redemption of the transgressions that were under the first testament. Because we know that the only people, not the multi-ethnic church, the only people that were under the first testament was the Israelites. So he came to the new covenant is only for the Israelites. The new covenant is for the people under the old covenant. It's plain and simple. for the redemption of the transgressions that were under the first testament, they which are called might they which are called might receive the promise of an eternal inheritance, right? Because that first inheritance, we didn't have he didn't put the spirit on us to be sinless. He didn't put the spirit on us to never break the commandments, right? In this new covenant, he's making it so that we cannot in turn eternal inheritance. It isn't a covenant, a promise that with an ultimatum and blah, blah, like if you follow my commandments, you're gonna die. If you don't, no, in this one, you will follow my laws. That's it. Eternal inheritance. Verse 16. For where a testament is, there must also of necessity be the death of the testator. If I sign a will, if I'm making a will for my family, for whoever, right? I sign it off. Blam. It's there in contract, Jeremiah 31 and 31, right? And I don't die, they cannot receive the inheritance. The will stays in the air until I die. So once again, verse 16, for where a testament is, there must also of necessity be the death of the testator, right? But in this case, Yahweh isn't going to die us, so he gave us a lamb. He gave us the blood of his son. In verse 17, for a testament is of force after men are dead. Otherwise, it is of no strength at all while the testator liveth. The will doesn't mean I can update the will, I can edit the will, I can do everything while I'm alive. But you're not gonna get any of my inheritances, my assets, my properties. You're not gonna get none of that until I die. I'll read one more time. Verse 17. For a testament is of force after men are dead. Otherwise, it is no strength at all while the testator liveth. So simple as that. He passed away. He got crucified. We got the blood of the hamashyach, right? The will is there. You don't get that stuff right away. Things need to happen. Then what do they call it? They got to get their something in order, get your affairs in order, because they'll have somebody there, right? I pass away, I die, I kick the bucket, probably tripped and whatever, right? I passed away, right? And there's gonna be somebody there. Granted, you know what? A better analogy, right? I write my will. If I put in my will after I pass away, my kids can't have nothing until they're 25. The same way Yahweh put that all these things need to happen. You need the 7 seals, the 7 trumpets, the 7 vials. You need the elect to wake. You need the you need wars to happen. You need all these things to happen before the will gets received. Right? Same way, hey, he can't get it until he finishes college. I'm dead already. I died. He was 15. He needs to finish college. He'll get everything. Yahweh already put everything that needs to happen in order for us to receive it. Matter of fact, just one of my favorite part of the Bible right here, because it just sums everything up easily and you can't really get around it, right? Because remember I was talking about this, things need to happen before the New Testament, right? This is one of those things. Revelation 7:1. And after these things, I saw four angels standing on the four corners of the earth, holding the four winds of the earth, that the wind should not blow on the earth, nor on the sea, nor on any tree. Those winds, it's the famines, the pestilences, the wars, the blood, it's all that stuff, right? There's four angels right now in the four corners of the earth, just waiting for things to pop off. Verse 2. And I saw another angel ascending from the east, having the seal of the living God. And he cried with a loud voice to the four angels, to whom it was given to hurt the earth and the sea. So those four angels, comes another one, and he's going over to the four angels. So not one angel is going back to the four angels, and he's telling them, Salaki, and those four angels, it says right there in verse 2, that their job, their duty, is to hurt the earth and the sea and the trees and all that. Nuclear war, whispering in like King Jong-il's ear to do something, or Putin's ear to do this, or America to keep doing what they're doing. That's their job, right? Verse 3. So that one angel saying something, saying, hurt not the earth, neither the sea, nor the trees, till we have sealed the servants of our God in their foreheads. So he's saying, don't touch it, don't do anything until these Hebrew Israelites wake up, or wake up who needs to be woken up, right? So that's already one thing that has to happen. As soon as the 444,000, as soon as his elect wake, it's that next step. As soon as that happens, you get the ones being purged. You have a blah, and then all that stuff happens, and then we're in the new covenant. But a bunch of things have to happen. That will, in my will, I wrote certain people that I know who they are. I shouldn't say that, but you know what I mean. You know what I'm trying to say. Like in the will that was given, it needs to, certain things need to happen. And then I heard the number 144,000. Blah, blah, blah. You already know who they are. 12 tribes of Israel. So don't let them tell you though. It's just, if you just read the Bible, take off the Christian glasses, the Christian Catholic perspective, that preconceived notions that we knew, because we were taught the Bible before we ever read the Bible. My first Bible that I ever received was just the New Testament. And by the grace of the Most High, Yhwhshi, hamashyach, Yhwhshi, I never read that book. It's over there somewhere, all damaged. Never read it. I got myself a regular Bible with I forgot how many books. With the Old Testament and the New Testament, and I read from Genesis to Revelation. I did like that. Some people are not that. Some people aren't. Didn't receive the okay to do that. Some people let the Bible be taught to them before they even read it. And then we go into that thing, and Christianity will sprinkle a little bit of the Book of Enoch and the Book of Jude and all that stuff, and we lose track of the truth. And the truth is, we are not in the New Testament. We are not in the New Covenant yet. Many things need to happen before the New Covenant begins. As I read through all these precepts, these verses, many things need to happen. Yhwhshi is not even here yet. Jesus is not even here yet. He's bringing us into the New Covenant, but he's not even here. We're going to get here before him. We're going to get into the New Covenant before him. It doesn't work like that. We all still have stony hearts. In the New Covenant, we're going to have fleshy hearts. Right? Watch this. Deuteronomy 30. through 8. Yeah, I don't like this. Thing's bugging the hell out of me. Deuteronomy 1 through 8. And it shall come to pass, when all these things are come upon thee, the blessing and the curse, which I have set before thee, and thou shalt call them to mind among all the nations, whither the Lord thy God hath driven thee. So, among the nations, you're going to see that we're better than everybody else. You're going to see that we can, that we're more resilient than them, that we can hold more than them, that we can do that. We're just more superior. That they have to, among the nations, they know that they're going to have to group together to make us forget who we are. They got to come together to make us fall time after time. They got to redline us. They got to do all these different things. The blessings, right? And the curses. Among all the nations, they see that we can't stand each other. They see that we prefer to be around them, even though they're oppressing us, than our own people. They're gonna see that we don't even love our children. I don't say we're gonna love our children, but you know what I mean. That we're gonna leave our children. That we're gonna be in prison. We're gonna be doing all that. They're gonna see our curses as well. They're gonna see us as they're gonna know we're better. You know, I mean, they don't know it. If you don't know, no. So they know that they see our blessings that we just carry in our pockets, but they also see the curses, that shadow that's over our head. Right, verse 2. And shall return unto the Lord thy God, and shall obey his voice according to all that I command thee this day, that so like it, thou and thy children with all thine heart and with all thy soul. So we're gonna come back eventually to the Most High, and I'm privileged enough to witness it. Whoever's watching this video, you're privileged enough to witness it. That everything for 2,000 years, they've been everyone's been claiming it, but no, it's actually happening now with us. So if you hearken even a little bit onto what I'm saying, or what somebody, if you heard from somebody else, take it and run with it, because it's more precious than gold. Add on to it, keep learning it, because that fleshy heart is the reward. Right, that white stone that Yhwhshi hamashyach Yhwhshi, a lot of us get. That's a privilege, but you have to work. You have to do something for it, right? Because if you're not doing something for it, it's because the Most High just does not want you. But if you take this and you move forward with it, it's because the Most High, He's pushing you in that direction. Don't resist it. Go with it. Verse 3. That then the Lord thy God will turn thy captivity, right, and have compassion upon thee, and will return and gather thee from all the nations, whither the Lord thy God hath scattered thee. So, like I said before, many times, one of the prerequisites of things that need to happen before we get into the new covenant is being gathered from all the countries that we've been scattered. All right, He's gonna turn our captivity, whether you believe it or not. We are in captivity right now. We have a in America, the people with the most buying power is the so-called black man, Judah, right? The top tribe of Israel, right? They don't even know who the hell they are. You go to Puerto Rico, we don't even know. We have a bunch of stones in the land, and we can't, that are in Hebrew, la piedra de padre de Nazario, and we can't even put two and two together because we're not gonna know who we are. America still controls Judah Judah with the leaders leading them astray. And then you have the captivity of Ephraim, which America is, or Babylon is, putting the laws in place. Putting all these things. And if it isn't as direct as what's happening to Judah and to Ephraim, it's by proxy. It's indirectly, like what they've done to Haiti, right? What they've done to Levi, Salaki. They went and they crumbled their economical and political infrastructure. They do it to Colombia. To Asher. They do it to Mexico. They do it to Issachar. They do it to everybody. Some more direct, some are by proxy and indirectly. But we are in captivity, regardless if you think so. Just because you have a couple bucks in your name, or you're living good, you're eating good, you're doing what you get. Those are crumbs. You're receiving the crumbs of captivity happier than you could potentially receive the blessings. I'm talking about the not the crumbs, but the plate that the Most High wants to give you. We've been beaten down so much that we accept the crumbs that we're given, and we say we're not in captivity. We're like the chickens, and they're throwing the feed, right? And we're just happy as hell. We're still in captivity. The only way to get out of it is to keep the law, statutes, and commandments, and make sure that you are a light, right? Make sure that you are telling the people around you to keep the commandments of God. Not the Israelites around you to keep the commandments of God. All right, we are still in captivity, whether you believe it or not. And we still have to be scattered from among all the nations. Just like I said, another prerequisite to going into the New Testament, the New Covenant. Verse 4, if any of thine be driven out unto the outmost parts of heaven. So things get a little tricky here, right? Because a lot of people think heaven, they think the skies and the third heaven where Yhwhshi is. If any of thine be driven out unto the outermost parts of heaven. Heaven is from the Nile to Euphrates, Israel, right? Because we got scattered to the outermost part of heaven. The kingdom of heaven is here on earth, right? So we gotta understand that. But that's another lesson for another time. Outmost parts of heaven. From thence will the Lord thy God gather thee. From thence will he fetch thee. So from the corners of heaven, wherever we're scattered, he's gonna get us from there and bring us right back. After the elect wake and Yhwhshi comes, verse 5. And the Lord thy God will bring thee into the land which thy fathers possessed, and thou shalt possess it. And he will do thee good and multiply thee above thy fathers. So the kingdom that's coming has never been seen before. Never been seen before. The kingdom that was, the Davidic kingdom, was amazing. The kingdom under Solomon was amazing. But it doesn't compare to, remember, in Solomon's time, people were coming from the other nations, were flocking to Israel just to hear him speak, because he's just so damn smart, right? In the kingdom of heaven, in the new covenant, way more than that, right? In verse 6, and the Lord thy God will circumcise thine heart and the heart of thy seed, to love the Lord thy God with all thine heart and with all thy soul, that thou mayest live. Right? Because the modern church will tell you that the circumcising of the heart is something new. Right? No, it's been prophesied to happen before, during the process of the old covenant. Us receiving the circumcised heart was always prophesied to happen before it was mentioned in the so-called New Testament, so-called New Testament. So don't let them trick you with that either. Verse 7. And the Lord thy God will put all these curses upon thine enemies and on them that hate thee, which persecuted thee. So if you understand that we, so-called black and indigenous, are the Israelites, black, Latino, and indigenous are the Israelites, even if you don't think that we're in captivity right now, they for sure, secular sources, everybody and their mother knows they did us harm. I wouldn't be speaking to you in English if they didn't do us harm. So he says here that all the curses that were on us will now go on our enemies because they persecuted us, because they hated us. And we all have to agree they persecuted us in one shape or form at one time, even if you don't think we're in captivity now. Verse 8. And thou shalt return and obey the voice of the Lord and do all his commandments, which I command thee this day. So after he gathers us, we're going to keep the commandments. People today, they say they believe in Christ, they believe in hamashyach, they say they love God, they do this, but they don't keep the commandments. This is saying that we will keep the commandments. Now we will keep the commandments. And how you know that this is talking about end times is because he gathered us back. As in the scriptures, no way we went out, and then he gathered us back. And then we started keeping the commandments and what you call it, and multiply above thy fathers. Like, think about this. He says that he's going to multiply it above our fathers. So if you believe you're an Israelite, whatever they had is more than that. So just keep that in mind. Keep to precept that one, I got you guys with Ezekiel 36. Ezekiel 36, 24 to 28. Watch this. For I will take you from among the heathen. So another verse of him gathering us from the heathen which we were scattered, and gather you out of all countries, and will bring you into your own land. Then will I sprinkle clean water upon you, and ye shall be clean. From all your filthiness and from all of your idols will I cleanse you. A new heart also will I give you, and a new spirit will I put within you, and I will take away the stony heart from out of your flesh and will give you the heart of flesh. And I will put my spirit within you. This is the point right here. And I will put my spirit within you and cause you to walk in my statutes. He says, I'm going to cause you to walk in my statutes. Kind of reminds me of the verse. He says, no man cometh to Yhwhshi unless the Father calls him. As he makes you hearken. He makes you listen and then build upon it. He puts that spirit within you. But the spirit that he's going to put in us after he gathers us, we'll never sin again. We're going to be the wisest people in the world, if we're not already. And I will take away, and ye shall keep my judgments and do them. The other covenant, he didn't never say you will do them. He gave us an ultimatum. Deuteronomy 28:1, Deuteronomy 28:15. Said if you do them, I'll bless you. If you don't, I'm gonna curse you. This one he's saying, you will do them because I'm gonna put my spirit within you. It's not like that right now. We don't, how do you say, we don't have everybody keeping the commandments of God. It's not a collective thing. We have a few that do keep them, but we don't have as a collective. It's not, Yhwhshi is not here. Prophecy hasn't happened yet. So, verse 28. And ye shall dwell in the land that I gave to your fathers, and ye shall be my people, and I will be your God. I will also save you from all your uncleanness, and I will call for the corn, and will increase it, and lay no famine upon you. Why are some of us hungry today? You know, some of our people are hungry today. You know, so point is that in the new covenant, there's a lot of things that need to take place, and a lot of things that conditions that will change. The human condition that we live, the little carnal condition, the carnal spirit will not be here anymore in the new covenant. So stop letting people tell you guys that we're in the new covenant. I know it's a little long-winded, but and then I'm gonna let this segue into the next video. Not next video, another video. That the new covenant is only for Israel. Salvation is only for Israel. This is the book of Hebrews, chapter 9 and verse 15. I'll read it one more time. To paint a picture and kind of end off on a good note. And for this cause, he is the mediator of the New Testament, Yhwhshi, the crucifixion, the blood, the promise, the blood, the lamb, that by means of death, for the redemption of the transgressions that were under the first testament, they which are called might receive the promise of eternal inheritance. If your fathers were not under the original covenant, the new covenant is not for you. So one, we're not in the new covenant yet. If I that long-winded video, if you didn't get it, I'll make some updates eventually. Things, because we're progressing this thing, we're still learning. Like things are being brought to people's attention every day. Maybe I'll make up a revamped version of the video, or an updated version. I'll put it right here. But also, it's only for Israel. Don't let them tell you otherwise. I'm going to end it off on that note by giving all honor, all praises, and all glory to Yahweh, Bashim hamashyach Yhwhshi, and Shalom.